It's about time that we have a serious conversation about Islam Makhachev. This guy will be, he's already the pound for pound #1 right now. He might be the greatest fighter that we see come out of the UFC, not named GSP or John Jones. In my opinion, he's already on the trajectory that he's going to supersede Khabib. Khabib had 3 title defenses, and now Islam has the same. And Islam honestly looks a lot better than what Khabib did if you are a casual fan. What I mean by this is the last 8 fights that Islam has been in, he has finished 7 of them. And it breaks the stigma of all these wrestlers that just want to sit on top, get dominant position, and end the round, win a decision, and then progress from there. Islam is not like that, and he is the one that breaks the mold. Islam is amazing on the ground, and his chain wrestling and his submissions are one of one. But what we don't talk about with Islam is how good he is on the stand-up. I can go on for days about his striking, but whether it's a check right hook, whether it is a feint into an overhand, like Islam displays everything that you want in a striker. And to put it into perspective, this man had a staph infection, beat a healthy Poirier, who is known to knock people out and have the best boxing in the UFC. I'll say, yes, it was a very competitive fight. Poirier landed some very good body work on the cage against Islam. But we are not going to sit here and talk and think that Islam is not good boxing and he's not good in the stand-up game, because he is. I think he is, like I said, going to not only supersede Khabib, but is already at that level, and he will become one of the best fighters that we have seen come through the UFC, because he has absolutely been mauling people. And the only person that maybe could go against them and make a difference is Charles Oliveira, which he's already defeated, or Arman Tsarukyan, which he's already defeated. This man is on a warpath, and it's about time that we don't just sit here and talk about all the fancy finishes of Charles Oliveira, or whether we had the dominant decision wins with Khabib, which he kind of rectified that with his later finishes of the Conor McGregor's, the Jason Gaethje's, the Poiriers. We are talking about Islam Makhachev, the guy that is pulling off these takedowns like the one he landed against Dustin in the final sequence that we have not seen in the UFC. And we don't talk about it enough. Someone that comes into the UFC, such as Islam, clearly lacking something, which was the stand-up game. And the only loss that Islam has was because he told his corner, he told Khabib, he told everybody, hey, I want to strike, I want to get better, and I'm going to do this fight. Did it work out for him? No, he lost. But the thing is, with these type of fighters, which I wanted to allude to in an earlier video, you have to beat them very early using the game plan that they are susceptible to. And an example of that is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. What is he notoriously bad at? Grappling, wrestling. So you better get him out by taking him down 10 times in a fight and then submitting him. And that's what Shavkat did. He went in, did the job, got out. But when you let these fighters sit in the UFC ranks and go and beat these people doing what they do best, whether it's wrestling or whether it's striking, they just get better at the other thing that they're not good at. And that's what I feel like a lot of people don't understand, is that Islam is not just getting better at what he obviously lacks, he's getting better in almost every single facet of the game. And a lot of people that can't stand these Russian fighters cannot accept the fact that Islam has probably the best trajectory we have seen in the UFC yet. We are seeing such an improvement at such a dynamic clip that we have not seen before. And a lot of people like to go on the other side of the striking aspect and say that Izzy had an amazing start to the UFC, and he had his title defenses, he was winning titles, and as a challenger, he was insane. But he lacked one thing, and that was wrestling. When he went to go for the 2-time belt, he couldn't do it. And again, you need to get these fighters out early, whether it is submitting them, whether it is knocking them out. You have to throw them off the trajectory, and a lot of people have tried that against Islam, and he has just absolutely mauled them. And again, I'm a Volk fan. He sent him to another realm. And the fact that Islam can pull out all these tricks in his book and still add them is what we need to talk about and what I want to demonstrate in this video. And I'll say, first things first, I was all aboard the Dustin train and seeing Islam go down and him being painted as the villain. But the fact that he can be painted as the villain and still come out on top and still show that not only does he have areas of improvement, but if he's coming into a fight where maybe he has staph infection, he can still perform, which is absolutely mental to think about. Something else I wanted to add is that Islam is going to beat you whatever you're best at. So whether it's Charles Oliveira, he's going to submit you. Whether it's Volkanovski, he's going to TKO you. This man is like a mini John Jones in my eyes. And yes, John Jones used the elbows and more of the striking aspect. Islam's more of the wrestling first and then striking. But two dynamic fighters we're talking about, John Jones and Islam Makhachev. And Islam, who's going to stop him?
In my opinion, I don't think the pound for pound list means greatest of all time. I think it means who at that point is the greatest right now. And it's hard to say that Islam is not number one instead of John Jones, because John Jones's last couple fights have not been that convincing, has not been that big of a fight. He arguably could have lost to Dominic Reyes. He had a close fight against Thiago Santos, who had one leg. And then after that, I mean, he had hiatus, and then he fought Ciryl Gane, a guy who has zero takedown defense. And Islam, if you look at the resume that Islam has put on to be pound for pound number one, I mean, he beat Charles Oliveira, one of the best lightweights we've seen. He beat Dustin Poirier, one of the best lightweights we've seen. Although the Dustin fight was quote-unquote close, I personally had it 3-1 Islam going into that 5th round. It was a very close fight, but Islam still won it. Islam still got the submission. And it has proven to be a better resume recently than John Jones. John Jones, resume-wise, is unmatchable. I mean, obviously, if this was a story on just resumes, John Jones is number one. This guy's beating Shogun, Lyoto, Daniel, Gustafsson. I mean, the list goes on and on. While Islam is now just starting to hit that I'm beating elite level guys. But that's right now. Right now, as we speak, John Jones is going to fight a 40-year-old Stipe, while Islam just beat Dustin Poirier and is probably going to fight Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, this guy's resume is going to keep racking up. And so there is no debate, in my opinion. I think Islam is number one. And if anyone has an issue with it, I think you're just looking at the resume of people. If that's the case, then why aren't we putting some guy that's doing boxing right now? Like, why are we putting Anderson Silva number one in pound for pound? Because he's boxing right now. That makes no fucking sense. If we're talking about pure resumes, John Jones is out of this water, but we're talking about right now. And right now, John Jones has only fought Ciryl Gane in the last couple years, and is gonna fight a 40-year-old Stipe who got knocked out by Francis Ngannou. While Islam has gone his way up to the title, beating Dan Hooker, beating Drew Dober, beating Thiago Moises, getting to Dustin, getting to Oliveira, obviously. This guy's resume is way better, and this guy's recent resume is way better. And so I don't think there is a single debate in here. I think Islam is proving to be the pound for pound number one, and if he keeps going the way he's going, this guy is the most well-rounded fighter I've ever seen, other than John Jones. And the resume that he's gonna top, the way it's looking, the resume that he's gonna have is gonna be better than John Jones. But it's all with due time.
Islam is just on another planet, and the only way that I see him getting stopped is if he decides to go up in weight or change, whether it's going down. If he wants another title, he wants another belt, that's the only way I kind of see him faltering and him kind of going through the cracks, because a lot of people gave Khabib shit because he wouldn't move up in weight, and some people called him a weight bully and stuff like that. Hey, whatever you can cut at, you can fight there. I respect it, but Islam is very disrespected, I feel like, to the casual watchers, because he's more the boring fighter and he doesn't put on a show. Like I said before, this dude has finished 7 of his last 8 fights, and he has 3 title defenses and then won a championship in that time period. How is he not entertaining to you? So if you guys have made it this far, thank you. I know I brought the hat back. I wanted to do this type of video. I haven't seen you guys in a minute, but thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. But as always, it's been studs.